Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the webinar from Derivita. My name is Devlin, and I'm going to be your host today. Okay. All right. This is how we're kind of doing the webinar. Is I have Sunny sitting next to me. You can't see her, but she's looking at the chat room. So if you have any questions or concerns or any problems with your audio or video or anything like that, then go ahead and just chat it to her, and she'll take care of it while we're talking here, and we'll address it here in the webinar. All right. Okay. So I see we have a few people kind of filtering in, but I think it's okay to start. So again, my name is Devlin Daley, and I am the co-founder here at Derivita. In a prior life, I was co-founder of a company called Instructure that builds the product Canvas. And when I was visiting with a lot of schools with Canvas, I found out that there was this need, of helping math teachers. And about courseware and how the publisher systems worked, and I was surprised by how much was being charged and how poor the technology actually was. Technology that had to integrate in with Canvas and whatnot. And so, as now that I've left Instructure, this is what I'm working on now, is to see if we can build better tools to help math teachers and to help their students. Right? So with Derivita, so we're going to talk about like integrations. Reducing the amount of work for teachers, giving a better experience for the students, being able to ask better, more open-ended math questions, actually more meaningful math questions. So it's not just busy work and multiple choice, and then actually fixing the price points that publishers offer. So the first one is to understand real quick is we are unbundling the bundle. Okay, so what that means is right now is students are buying the book and an access code in a bundle, usually from the bookstore, even a digital version of that. And that actually precludes them from using the used book market or rental books or anything like that. And so instead of replacing the books from the publishers that you use, is we actually have question banks that we map to publisher books themselves. So you can still use the exact same book that you would like, and we have question banks that align directly with them, but then we give better technology than what the publishers offer today. This also allows you to work with OER books or open source books and whatnot, that you can use whatever content that you would like, and Derivita will work with it. So actually, like, you can take an OER book and get a better experience for the students with better technology with a OER book than you can from the publishers themselves. So that's unbundling the bundle, and that lets us those books then can be, like I say, purchased, used, or rented. An example of that, like Stewart Calculus, very popular book. You can rent that for under $20 a semester. And so we combine that with Derivita and our cost. You could actually repeat that course 2 or 3 times and still be under what a publisher does. Okay. All right. So unbundling the bundle, and let's hop in and look at the system. All right. Let me share my screen here. Do you have a comment? Oh, stop in video, that's right. All right, here we go. Okay, so here I'm inside of Canvas, but we actually integrate with all the learning management systems, Canvas, D2L, Blackboard, Moodle, all of those, and we come in as an assignment. And so it takes just a few minutes to import in our assignments, like a few minutes as in less than 2, and then that's fully integrated. You don't have to copy scores over. The scores automatically show up in the gradebook that you're using. It's where it's fully integrated. That's how we roll. And so you can see here I've got these assignments just listed by a couple of different topics for this course, and then you just launch into an assignment, and you'll get a dashboard. Now this dashboard doesn't have data. I'll show you one with some in it. You can see exactly what the student view is from it. So this is what the students are exactly going to see, and they can start putting in their answers. They can start to work. So we use this hybrid calculator syntax where you can type and it automatically previews to the student. And then as I use the toolbar, it just teaches me that syntax. This is the fastest way we found for students to get math into the computer. And this is as fast as you can type it, right? So the students know exactly how the system is interpreting their data. Okay, very usable. Students really don't need a whole lot of training for this, right? They just can answer questions and then go right on to the next one, okay? Let me show you a little bit here. This is what a little bit more fleshed out dashboard from a teacher. So when you come into class, you know right at a glance the homework that you've assigned, how many have started, how many have finished, what proportion have got it correct, and if they got it right on their first, second, or third attempt. This is a sortable table. We can just take a quick glance and you can kind of see, you know, people are having issues with this. I can actually open up that question and let's talk about it in class. All right, so this is some very actionable data analytics. You don't have to prepare or study it for a couple of hours. You can actually just use it on the podium computer and right in front of the students. Right? So it actually closes that loop of what are they understanding or not understanding on the homework, and let's address that with a little bit more instruction. All right. Okay, and again, I can just click over here to the student view and then go through these questions here. Okay, now this is a Canvas specific feature, but because this is the Canvas calendar, but to reschedule like the due date of an assignment, you actually just drag and drop it. And that updates the due date, and we pick that up automatically. So you don't have to set the due date in Canvas and then set it in Derivita. We just actually, it feels like we're just a part of Canvas. Here's a little tip for you guys. When you're rolling over a course from one semester to the other, this little calendar over here can actually be different than May. So I could go here to June, and I could schedule it out here to like June 21st. And as that saves here, if I go over here, then I can see that I indeed moved that assignment over there. So it's just really simple and dynamic and just so well integrated. Okay, so I was going to look at a few of these questions. Let me show you like this one here. Okay, so underneath, we've created a computer algebra system where we can ask very much open-ended questions and still auto-grade them. Okay, so like in this question, we've written it so that we're not looking for a very specific answer, is because this has many answers. Lets the student get a lot of practice, a lot of creativity, but where we can still auto-grade this. Okay. All right. We don't have a lot of time, so I could type these in and try them out, and I'll leave that for the Q&A. All right. I wanted to show here real quick just how questions are. This is our authoring environment and how we can assemble new assignments. So one is, you can see, I can see the questions, see exactly what they are. They're not just a list, right? And then like here real quick, let me create like a new assignment here, right? We'll call this the webinar assignment. So as I'm going through here and I see some questions that I want in this new assignment, I actually just select them, maybe one with interval notation, and I hit copy. And in my webinar, I just paste it in, and now I've got these assignments in here. So it's very, very simple to grab questions from anywhere. So if you're doing a requisite course, you want to include some material from a previous course, or just review, or even for a test where you want to grab some questions from it. It's very, very quick to do this. Okay. Some things I wanted to show here as well is it can handle symbolic algebra transparently, right? But also, graphics are native into the system. So here, like, here's a graphing question where they're actually going to manipulate the graph, with parabolas and whatnot. We even show you some of these trig functions. So now in this interface, I can even edit this question. So if I actually open this question, I can edit it. This is actually how it works, right? So I can actually preview the question as I'm editing. Right? So I can edit the question, change its terminology. Very simply, this is the code here that actually is the logic for this question. Okay, I'm not going to save that, but you can see we have some very interesting question types. Like we draw these triangles to scale. We can mix and match here between multiple choice and graphing questions and open input all in the exact same question. So we have input types, not just question types. We natively support interval notation, vector syntax, and whatnot. Okay, so like here's, I'll show you some examples here real quick. Okay? So like in this question, I'm asking for a function here, right? So as a student, I can type in 2 times the sine of 2 pi times x See, you guys are all looking at me typing, right? Okay, plus 4. I can try this, so I can simulate what the student's going to do here, and it reminds me is I need to actually have it in the form of a function. So instead of just showing the right-hand side, I actually are requiring the students to actually give me a function of this. Now in this case, I can go like f of x equals, and see that we typed out that is a function. And if I try this one, then as it's checking is I actually ask them to name it s, right? So we can actually get that granular with all these different questions. Whereas I can check this and now it accepts it. Okay, so this really takes what's possible in terms of function and correct notation. Let me show you some other ones here. I'll show you just some interesting questions here. So like this one, I want them to graph a circle, graph its point and its radius real quick. Let's see, this is one of my favorites right now. We're teaching about translation. I can like change the period of it, change the amplitude, and also translate it. And actually ask them how it's working. Okay, so it's very, very modern. The thing I guess I haven't told you here is that this also works transparently on mobile devices. So it can be very graphical with that. Let's see, I got a couple of things in here I want to show. Okay, this is also a unique feature that we have. And it's about this computer algebra system, okay? So in this question, I'm just asking them to expand it. And I'm going to, get it wrong here, just like even an x squared, I see what that is. But we can actually use the student's answer to tell them why they're right or wrong from it. So as I check this, you see this x squared this is the student's answer, and I'm substituting in these numbers into their own answer and into the one that they were given. So again, to tell them how they could have checked their answer as they did this. Okay, so this is a very unique feature of Derivita. This follow-on marking, we can do that because now we can ask for, give me the position, function as a function over time, and then say what is, time at 3 seconds, right? And we can know that that's consistent with them. To show here, like I can change this with the student, and you see like it just auto-updates when we plug this in as well. Now we do show them the answer eventually if they still can't get it, and then we regenerate right to the next question as we go. But so being able to use the student's own answer is very opens an incredible amount of possibilities that were not possible before. So like an example of this is like an odd function, right? So I can, in this case, we actually are checking the properties of it. I'm not looking, I don't have a list of like x squared is even or odd, right? I can explain this, but we actually can take, negative f of x, is that equal to f of negative x, right? And show them, is that true or not? All right, so now as I come in here, then we're actually checking the properties of the questions, okay? So very, very much open-ended here. Like examples of odd functions, I can here give me any function where f of 0 is 2 and f of 1 is 5, that's an infinite number that's possible there. But we can still auto-grade that. All right, some other things you can see in here, tables, quantitative literacy. So we actually have courses from beginning in quantitative reasoning all the way up through Calc 2 and differential equations. Is because the usability of the system will work even for the developmental math, and then the system has a lot of capabilities that can handle the higher level math as well. Okay. I'll show just really quick, I guess, here is how I can create a question. So a lot of questions can be just edited, right? But here's a question from scratch. I'll just show really simply. I'm going to create a variable here. This language is very similar to like a TI graphing calculator. And so I can say like, Devlin is pi times r squared, okay? As soon as this variable is declared, it automatically shows up here on the left, and it's available to be actually included in my question. I can say a hint, and wherever my cursor is here, I just drop in that equation and it automatically updates. And this typesets this appropriately for accessibility. So we put it in 3 different versions, so it can be zoomed in and out for assistive technology, but also in LaTeX and in MathML for screen readers simultaneously. And as I update this variable down here, it actually just auto updates everywhere that I use it. Okay, so actually writing questions is very, very simple and very straightforward. You can even preview it how it's going to look on a mobile device. Right? So now this tool, so if you've ever had a question that's almost perfect, but I need to change this, now you can, because the tool that you'll be able to use is the same tool that we use to build the questions. So this tool is that we've been using to build question sets and banks for different textbooks, and we're working on making this available to each individual teacher so you can edit the question yourself. Right? But this tool actually allows us to create questions at a much higher quality questions at a much faster rate as we're building out our question bank, so that we can work with all the textbooks that you need to use. All right, let's time check.
So we've got about 12 minutes left. And we'll leave a few minutes for Q&A because there's a few questions that came in.
All right. Should we look at those and then come back to any other parts of it?
Okay, so we have a question here from Doug Mead. Is the calendar that you're showing those features, is that in Derivita or in Canvas?
The calendar that I showed in that demo, that was the Canvas grade. It was in Canvas, the Canvas calendar. It's just that in Canvas, we automatically pick up those due dates. So even though it's not our system, it might as well be, because it's so integrated, you don't have to do anything else with it.
What about Blackboard? Is that drag and drop feature available in Blackboard?
Okay, so question about Blackboard, and that drag and drop is not available in Blackboard because Blackboard doesn't provide that that I know of yet. Right. So with the Blackboard integration is that you set the dates inside of Derivita.
Another question we had, and this is regarding the particular question that when you were working with the functions, when you answered it incorrectly a couple times, did it get counted as incorrect, or is it not officially graded?
Okay, good question. So on the student experience, this is something that you have some control over, right? The idea is that, let's talk about the default. It's just simpler to talk about that. So a student is given a specific instance of a question, and by default they have 3 attempts at that specific instance, right? And so after their first attempt is we don't show them the answer, we show them any potential feedback, right? And so that's where, while showing you like a substitution strategy, or I'm going to use your answer to show you how you could have checked that. Okay, so that feedback is given. On the second attempt, it's the same thing. We show that feedback to the students. And on the third attempt, then they've now exhausted it and they don't have it correct. So at that moment, that's when we display the solution to them, and and award points, whether that's partial points or 0 points or full points. And then immediately they can try that question again, a new instance of the question. So they can just keep going until they get it. So as soon as they start attempting, each attempt is then scored. And then in the sidebar, we actually show the students what their current score is on the assignment, so they can keep trying to improve their score with it. Now that score is not sent to the LMS gradebook until either the due date, or if the student has finished early, they have a button where they can say start sending the grade into the LMS system. Okay, so that way they don't get automatically a grade from the LMS that says you have 0% or 1% or something like that, right? So it avoids that confusion for the students, but they can see exactly where they are and where they can improve it. Now with that system, we save the highest score that they've achieved on any attempt on that question. So this allows them to, basically every assignment is automatically a review assignment if you allow that. So even if a student has 100%, there's no penalty for them to actually reattempt the question in practice, right? And then you use your LMS features to determine when they have access to that assignment and when they don't, right? So if the LMS allows them to come see the assignment, we let them just practice with it and always sending back only the highest grade.
Great. Another question we got here from Roxanne was, you mentioned that you've got content for Calc 2 and differential equations. Does this include multivariable calculus?
That's a good question. There's two parts to that question, okay? is yes, we have some content on that. And so we have, we are a new company and we have some incredible technology, and we're building out our question banks, right? And so we have a program that we've been using with certain schools. We're calling it our early access program. And it's schools that are, that we're serving, or we're helping out with very specific needs that they have, in terms of, of scale and infrastructure and whatnot, and also to design courses. So basically these early access programs are doing a departmental adoption, where we are building courses specific to their needs. So they get a course that works exactly for what they need. And then we are able to add that to our question bank, that then anyone can use, on those topics. So we have worked with some schools on, Calc 1 and Calc 2. And so, I do know that we have questions that are multivariate differential equations, but that would be one that, we would probably seek to see if we can expand that offering with a partner school.
Right. So yeah, if anyone is interested in participating in a pilot and we don't have those questions, then that's something we could the content team could work with them on to develop those in the question bank. Great. Another question we got from Oscar: is there a way to import questions from WeBeWork? He's written a lot of questions for his book there already. So
in WebWork. Okay.
In WebWork. I'm sorry.
Cool.
I said WeBeWork.
we were working.
WebWork. Sorry.
You need to be on camera. Okay. So there is not an automatic import of WebWork questions, but with our system, I think you kind of got a sense of, that the authoring interface is very productive. So on one hand, it actually is not very difficult to convert those even manually. And from WebWork, I mean, maybe let's talk afterwards, because I think that our content team could actually help with that a lot too. That we could actually help with that translation, especially if they're your questions to get into Derivita.
Can you export out of Derivita?
So there is not an export out of Derivita. That is not because we don't want to. That's just because if we did export, there wouldn't be any other system that could do anything with it, right? But but the system this is a cloud infrastructure, and so like to copy between courses and whatnot, you would be familiar with like a Google Doc or something where you can write it and it's always on the internet, always backed up. Always up to date, and then it can be shared and copied within our interfaces.
Okay. Another question we got was, if you decide to remove a question from an assignment after students have started it, can you remove the question?
Okay, so this is a good question. Someone's been bit by this, so I like it. All right, we're getting real here. Okay, so when students start an assignment, then basically is we're integrating with another system, and we're not in control of the student roster. And so when students start an assignment for a very specific course, is that we need to actually take a snapshot of what the questions are in that assignment. So what we do is that if there's a question that you didn't mean to put in it, or maybe there's an error or you changed your mind, any reason, there's lots of good reasons to remove questions from assignments, is we have the ability to basically is that you would mark that question as being thrown out, right? So that it doesn't count against any students. But that question would be, for the people who have already taken it, they'll just get awarded full points for it, or that it just won't count. And then for new students, like it'll just say that they shouldn't, the question will be there, but they won't be able to attempt it. It just says this question has been omitted. Okay, and that solves a lot of the issues of having different assignments for different students.
Great. You mentioned that this works on mobile. Does it work on Chromebooks and other platforms?
Does it work on Chromebooks? I'm trying to think of a joke, and they're like, it didn't come. I was trying to do it. Yeah, absolutely. It works fantastic on Chromebooks.
Of course, a big question that a lot of professors have on their mind, because people are very cost conscious and cost aware when it comes to their students. What is the pricing model here? Okay,
so the pricing model is very straightforward and very simple, right? It's just a per student per semester in a course. And our price point is, like there's a, oh, you're coming in, Danton? Okay, so the pricing is very reasonable. We offer volume discounts if it's adopted at a department level. So if you're going to go anything with like an inclusive access or. All right, so we had a little hiccup there with the internet connection here in the office. So let's just finish up that question real quick on the pricing. So first of all is what's included in that pricing. So with any of our products, we actually have full faculty support for whatever you do. So if there is a question that has an issue, like we will fix it immediately. We even help you with the questions that you're trying to write or questions that you've already written if you're having some issues with it. So it's fully supported. Anything with the students, we got you covered. It's not just, hey, good luck, like other people, right? It's great, right? And so the pricing is per student, per course, for a semester, and it's very reasonable. And we have volume discounts for department level adoptions, but it starts at $40 and goes down from there. So this is definitely under that, low to no cost, area of it. Now with the internet going down, that did, it's a stark reminder that, the world is a tough place. It's difficult. All right, but the thing about the internet connection went down here at the office, but let me assure you that the application was completely unaffected. So we have this brand new infrastructure that is kind of unparalleled with any of our competitors. So we are actually in multiple data centers, distributed automatically with redundancy. So like even a server going down is not going to take the application down. Even an entire data center going down, well, actually it'll keep running with it. And it automatically scales as well. So if you have one user using it, and then all of a sudden you have a test with 5,000 students using it at the exact same time, like that's not an issue for our infrastructure. Let's see. So yeah, And so when we update the application, we can actually update it without taking the site down either. So we don't have maintenance windows, times when students actually can't do their work. So it's a very there's a lot of feedback in the system. It's very reactive. There's a lot going on, but our infrastructure allows them to have that great experience, but not sacrificing speed or availability with it. I think you're going to really like it. Okay, so thanks for joining our webinar today. And if you have any additional questions, go ahead and send those to info@derivita.com. If you want to talk to us, we'd love to talk to you. Okay, thanks so much.